In this video, I want to show you how you can easily use Squarespace to start an online store quickly. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm using a blank template that only has a blank homepage and no other pages. However, you can easily start with any other Squarespace template that catches your eye, or if you already have an existing Squarespace website, you can add a store to it already. You don't need to switch templates or completely build your website from scratch. You can add a store to basically any Squarespace templates that you use as a starting point. Also, for the purposes of this tutorial, I should mention that we are using the 7.1 version of Squarespace. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a page in the not linked section by clicking on the plus sign. And I'm going to go down here to collections, and then I'm going to choose store. Now, when I do that, there are two layouts for me to choose from. So don't worry too much about which one you want to choose. Just choose the one that looks better for you, and keep in mind that you can change the layout later on. You can customize it slightly to show what it looks like. Now, because my internet is super slow, these previews are not loading, but rest assured that they do look functional. So I'm going to click on the first one, and I'm going to rename the page into shop. And as soon as I do that, Squarespace is going to pop up with a prompt to see the steps necessary to set up a store. I'm just going to get X out of it because, well, that's what this video is for. And as you can see, they have already added some physical products to the store to serve as a starting point that you can customize. However, I am going to delete those so that we can set up a physical product from scratch. So I'm going to select them all and click delete. And now we're going to click on create product, and we are going to choose a physical product. Right now, Squarespace allows you to sell physical products, services, digital products, gift cards, memberships, videos, or master classes or something like that, as well as any appointments or classes that you conduct with your clients at a set and a scheduled time. I'm not going to walk you through all of these. Basically, I'm going to show you how to set up a physical product and a digital download, just so you can see the differences between the two. And then you can play around with the rest of the options to see how you can set them up. So we are going to start with a physical product. Squarespace is going to pop up with some suggested copy for our product. However, I'm just going to enter physical product demo in this case, and I'm going to add some pre-made cupcake Ipsum text so that I can show you where this product description shows up on the product page. And then we are also going to add additional info by clicking into that editor, and then as you can see, we can add any other block. By clicking the plus sign, you can add any other block that Squarespace offers that you could add to a normal page. You could add it here into the additional info section. So we are just going to add more text, and I'm going to paste some more text like this. There we go. I'm going to copy that. And then you can also add list, like features, and let's add a couple of feature 1. Feature 2. Basically, you get the idea. Any other way that you would use to add content to your Squarespace pages, you can do so here. However, you don't really have a lot of freedom in terms of layout. I mean, yes, you can move blocks around like you can with the standard classic editor. So if I add, let's say I want to add another image here. Let's browse stock images. Let me find, I don't know, let's search for a mug. And let's say this is the one I want to use, so I'm going to click add image, and we're just going to wait until it uploads. And then you can move it around by hovering over it, and when this hand icon appears, you can drag it basically to the side like you would usually. You can add a couple of spacer blocks at the top, like so. And then, of course, you can resize the image by making it smaller like this, or you can make the text smaller and the image bigger by dragging this blue line that appears. So So let's make it like that, and I'm going to click apply, and you will see where it shows up once we publish the product. So now I'm going to add an image for the product that I downloaded earlier. So it's all the way here. So I'm just going to add it. Then we can set the price for the product. So I'm going to say $30. If you want to mark this product to be on sale, you can toggle this on and then enter the sale price. So let's say 15. You can change the stock. So if you only have a limited quantity of this, toggle the unlimited stock off and then enter how many you have in the store. So let's say you have 10 of these. You can also enter the SKU number if you have it. And then if you have variations of the product, you can set them up here by clicking add. And you already have a couple of pre-made options that Squarespace offers, such as color, size, and material. Or you can enter custom product variation if you have it here and then set it here. So let's say you want to set different materials as the variants, you can do so here. And then clicking the three dots basically allows you to delete those variants or to rename the option into something else. And you can enter the material here, so you can say ceramic, plastic, and I don't know, let's say glass. And then we can click save. And then you can also upload the image for each variation by clicking this arrow icon, and then you can choose a different image or you can use the one that is already uploaded. So I'm just going to apply that one. You can change the SKU for each individual variation, and you can change how many of each variations you have in stock. You can also enter dimensions, and you can also delete a variation if you so desire. So we're going to go back, and then once that is done, you can enter the size and weight for each variation and each product to calculate the shipping rates and provide an estimate to your customers. Next up, we have the organization, which gives you a way to categorize your product. So clicking the plus sign, you can add categories for your product. So you can have, for example, mugs, and then you can have glasses, then you can have plates and stuff like that. So I'm going to click done. And of course, if you add more than one category, it'll add all three categories for you. So to just make sure that the product appears in only one category, uncheck the other two. And then click done. And then you can also connect related products. So for example, if you have plates that are made out of ceramic and you have mugs that are made out of ceramic, you can add the tag ceramic to it. And basically as many tags as you want. However, keep in mind that they will not be shown in your store, but rather you can use them to show related products on individual product pages. You can also set up a featured product, which will be displayed in summary blocks on your page. This is useful if you want to promote a specific product on any other page on your website. And then you can enable related products. And then this is what I was talking about. You can choose to show them based on the category. So you can choose, if you're selling mugs, you can choose plates to be the related product, or you can use tags to show all the ceramic based products. This is where tags come in handy. So I'm just going to choose ceramic and click apply. And then after that, you can choose to show product reviews on all product pages. However, this feature is managed separately in Commerce, and I will talk more about that when we get to the Commerce section. Next up, under the marketing section, you can edit the SEO and the social sharing settings for each of your products. So under SEO and URL, you can click on edit, and then you can customize the slug for your product. So we can enter it as ceramic coffee mug, like so. And then you can enter an SEO title, ceramic coffee mug, and then an SEO description. This is an awesome ceramic mug. Obviously you want to be more descriptive here than I am, but for tutorial purposes this is perfectly fine. And I'm going to click apply. And then for the social share, if you click on edit, you can change the image that shows up when somebody shares that product on social media. If you do not upload it, they will just use the thumbnail for the product. And then another cool setting is that whenever you add a product to your store, essentially it'll I'm not going to do that again because again we need to connect social accounts, and I'll show that later. But basically whenever you add a product to your store, it'll be automatically pushed to those profiles. So if you connect your Facebook profile, it will automatically be shared on your Facebook page or LinkedIn page or Pinterest or whichever social media profile you're using. And now we have the checkout section, which customizes how the checkout looks. So we can change the custom label for the purchase button. So if you click that, the default is add to cart, but you can change it to buy now. You can also collect extra information for customers when they add things to their cart. So for example, if you offer item customization, like if they can personalize the mug with their name, you would create a new form here and then basically add the form fields to ask them any information that you need from them. So I'm going to cancel that. And then you can also set up a subscription for this product. So if you sell, for example, if you sell tea and you want to offer your customers the ability to subscribe and get their favorite tea delivered on a regular basis, you can set that up here. And you can see that you can set how often it repeats, whether it's weekly or monthly. And you can also set up an expiration date. So if it's ongoing or if it expires after, 6 purchases or 1 year or something like that. And then you can click apply to apply those settings. And then under the save option here, we have the option to save, publish, or schedule our product. So if you want to schedule the publication of your products, if for example you have a line of products that are coming out at a certain time, you can upload them before and just schedule them to go live at a certain date. You would do that by selecting a time and date in the future. So let's say you have a special collection that's coming out on Valentine's Day. So you would set the date for February and then when do you want the publish time to happen, and you can click on apply. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to straight up publish the product. And now as you can see, we have our physical product and it shows up here in our store. And now from here, you can either send it to the top, send it to the bottom, or you can edit the product. Now, what's cool about this is that if you click this duplicate icon, you can duplicate this product, and essentially all you have to do then is change out the physical product name, description, and add images. But for example, if you have the same price for multiple products and they all belong into the same category or say that have the same tags, this saves you a lot of time because you don't really have to go through the whole creation process from scratch. You just have to customize a few things such as the SEO URL, the social sharing image, and basically the description and the images for the product. And then you can simply click publish and it'll publish the product again. Once you click on the individual product and then click edit design, you have the option to change how the individual product pages look. So this is what it looks like right now, and this is that additional product information that I was talking about. This is where you can see that extra information. And then this is where the recommended products will show up. As soon as you have more than one item in the shop and they're tagged with the same tag or belonging to the same category, they will show up here at the bottom. You can edit the section and choose a different layout. You can choose between simple, wrap like this, a full page layout like this, or a half a page, which looks like this. Simple gives you additional options where you can control the width of the product, which can be inset or full, the aspect ratio for the image, which you can choose between the standard aspect ratios that Squarespace offers, how the text is aligned, product navigation, whether you want this breadcrumb trail to show up or not. I recommend leaving that on for usability purposes. You can control the spacing between the text and the image. If you upload multiple images, you can choose how they show up as either a slideshow, a stacked set of images, or a carousel. You can also control the gallery placement and the thumbnail placement, how wide the form is, and what happens when somebody clicks the product image, whether it zooms in on the product or if it pops up in a light box. So if we click zoom, and let me save so I can show you what that looks like. And when somebody clicks, we zoom in. But if you change that to light box, now when somebody clicks on it, it'll just pop up with a bigger version of the image. So it's up to you how you want to style your product pages, but those are the options that are available to you. And then basically you have the same for the hover option. You can either set it to none or to zoom. And then you can change the colors for this particular section. So for example, you can change it to be one of these colors that are already pre-made, or any of the other color themes that you use. To change this, you have to use the design settings in the main navigation menu of Squarespace. We'll get to that in a second. So I'm just going to save that. And that is essentially how you add physical product to your store. Now, let's say you want to add a digital product. The process is pretty much the same with just a few differences. So you would click on Add Product and then click on Add Digital Product. And then we're going to enter a name, 50 coffee recipes. And then we are going to paste some cupcake Ipsum again, and then I'm going to upload a file. So let's say this is our image, even though it's not, but so now that that's uploaded, the only thing that's different, essentially, there are a couple of things that are different. First of all, for inventory, you need to upload a file for your digital product. So let's say it's this one. Your customers, when they make a purchase, they will receive a secure link. But after 24 hours, that link will disappear. So you'll have to regenerate it if that happens. And then you can set the price. So let's say this is $15, not 150, 15. There we go. Again, you can set the product to be on sale. You can add categories and tags as usual. You can also make this a featured product. You can show related products and product reviews. And you can also edit the SEO and URL as you would for physical products and the social share. And then, as you'll notice, there is no option to set up a subscription here for digital products. And another option that's missing is you cannot set up product variations for digital products. So let's say I sell several Squarespace templates. I cannot set up just one Squarespace templates and then sell different variations of it. I have to set them up as separate products, even though essentially the style is different and the content is different, but essentially it is just one product. It's a Squarespace template. However, you have to set it up as individual products. And then we can click on Publish. And when we click on Shop, you'll now see that we have 3 products in our store. If they click on the digital product, it pretty much looks the same. The only difference is that because I didn't add additional information, it is not showing up here. And because we don't have any other digital products, they are not showing up. They're not seeing the related products section below. And once they click Add to Cart, cart icon will pop up here. And then they can complete their checkout process by clicking here, entering their email, submitting a payment, reviewing, and making the final purchase. So I'm going to click the back button because there are a few more settings that I want to show you that you need to know in order to sell with Squarespace. So if you click this settings icon, you can change the title and the navigation title for your shop page, as well as the URL slug. And you can also control whether or not you have that little filter for the categories here. You can also set up your shop page as your home page by selecting this option. Under categories, you can add or delete categories for your products. So by clicking the 3 dots next to the category name, you can edit it, You can add more, or you can delete a category. Under SEO, you can enter the SEO for your general shop page. So not for individual products, but for your shop page as a whole. So we will change the SEO title here and then add an SEO description here, not so long though. And then you can change the social image similarly to the products. And then under the advanced, you can enable quick view so that when they click on a product, it pops up and they can see more information about the product without leaving your shop page as a whole, and they can add it to the cart and continue shopping. So that can be enabled here. Then you can manage the tags for your products here. And if you need to add code like for Facebook ads or for Google AdSense or something like that for tracking, that needs to go specifically on your shop page, you can do that here. And then we can click on save. And those are the store settings. One other thing that you can do to your shop page, here, let me click into the shop page itself so that it shows up when you click on edit. You cannot really change the section with the products. You can change whether it's full width or inset, and you can change the spacing between the columns and the rows and how many columns are in total displaying. And then again, set up the aspect ratio, text alignment, image and text spacing. You can choose to show or hide the product page, and you can choose where the categories show up. So they can be as a sidebar here, or they can show up here at the top. And of course, you can enable or disable breadcrumbs here. So when they click on glasses, they don't have that breadcrumb trail available. What you can do, however, is you can add more sections to your store. So you can add any of the sections that you see here that are built with the Fluid engine, or you can add classic editor sections here. You can add a blank one and then add the blocks yourself. Or if you're looking for the sections that were built with Classic Editor, you can do so by clicking on this link here, and then you can add any other section that existed in the Classic Editor version. You can add sections to the top and to the bottom, and there is no limit on how many sections you can add to each page. And that's it as far as customizing how your shop page looks. And I'm going to click on save. And then if you want to change colors and fonts, you will do so here under the design and then site styles, and then you can choose fonts and colors by clicking on edit palette, clicking on the color you want to change, and then entering the hex code for that particular color. Or you can choose some of these pre-made color presets that Squarespace generated for you. Again, I'm not going to dwell too much into the settings style because I mainly want to show you how to properly set up the store. So we are going to head into the commerce section next. Here is where you can basically manage all the settings connected with your Squarespace store. So I'm not going to go through all of these because we'll be here until spring. But I just want to walk you through a couple important settings that you do need to set up before you start selling, and then you can play around with the other tools and options later on. So the first thing, obviously, you can see all your orders by clicking on orders. You can manage your inventory by clicking on inventory, and then you can export all the products. You can import them from Etsy by clicking import, or from a CSV if you have a list of your products like that. Or if you've used Shopify or BigCartel, you can use these to basically import your products from those platforms. And you can also add products from this tab as well. Customers lets you see all the people who have made a purchase in your store. And essentially, Squarespace will create what they call profiles, so you can keep track of your customers and leads and subscribers and basically send them more targeted email campaigns. So as you can see, they are automatically created. They have automatically created smart lists, which you can use to see everybody who has ever bought from you before. And you can also create segments by using filters in profiles. So if you click on leads, you can see all the people who have basically signed up for your newsletter, and you can see them here and manage them here, and then use that list to create a targeted email campaign for them. I'm not going to do that right now because we don't have any orders and we don't have any subscribers, because this is a demo site, but this is where you would manage that and send them marketing campaigns. Under discounts, you can create discount codes for your customers. So let's say you have a Valentine's Day sale coming up. So you can create Valentine's Day sale. You can have automatic discount, which applies automatically at checkout, but you do need to upgrade to the commerce plan on Squarespace. Or you can just enter a discount. They need to enter a discount code themselves. If you already have something in mind, like V-Day sale, you can enter that as the coupon code, or you can have Squarespace generate a code for you. And then you can decide whether you want to have % off, amount off, or free shipping, and whether it applies to any order, a particular order, a single product, or a certain category, how many times it can be used, whether it can be used only once per customer, if you want to exclude certain subscription products, and you can set when the coupon starts and expires, and then click on save, and let's say 10%, like that, and we click save, and now the discount code is active in our store. You can also schedule discounts to go live at a certain date, and once they are done and expired, you can see them here under the inactive tab. The next most important thing that you'll want to set up is a way to collect payments from your store. So here you can connect Stripe, PayPal, and Square, and you can set your store currency. The process is pretty much straightforward. Once you click on an option, it'll take you to their page and you will sign in into your account, or you will create an account and set it up there. And once that account is connected, you'll be able to accept payments in your store. And here you can switch the currency for your store. And as you can see, they accept, or they have a lot of currencies here that are already accepted. So find yours and then set it up as the currency for your store. Then here under cart and checkout, you can, if you update to the commerce plan, you can toggle the abandoned checkout recovery to be on. You can also set up a minimum amount before they can check out. If you sell services, you can limit how many can be sold at one time. You can also assign the next order number and customize how the receipt looks. You can tick a lot of these options here that I'm not going to go into in detail, because that basically is different from one country to the next. So I'm not going to go into that. The best thing I can tell you is to consult your local accountant and ask them if you need to issue receipts and what information needs to be included on them. And here under the checkout page, you can collect email addresses, and you can either set them up to go immediately to your subscriber profiles and to be added to the mailing list that Squarespace will create, or you can connect MailChimp if you want to save your leads there. Again, I'm not going to go through that because we're not setting up MailChimp right now. And then you can select to have that enabled by default. I don't recommend doing this because a lot of people will miss that when they're checking out, and you actually need their explicit consent to send them marketing emails. So leave that off. And you can customize what the checkbox label says, and you can say something along the lines of sign up to get regular product updates and future discount codes or something like that. And then click save. Then this is where you will also need to enter your default billing address, or rather allow customers to select the default, to use the shipping address as their billing address. Pre-select the country for shipping and billing addresses. If you need to collect additional information, such as phone numbers or if you need to have a custom checkout form that again asks for item customization or something like that, or a gift note or something like that, you can enable the custom checkout form here, and then you can edit it by adding form fields that are usually available with Squarespace forms. And here under store policies is where you will want to enter your return policy, your terms of service, and your privacy policy, because these are a legal necessity. So to be just legally covered and make sure you're compliant, you'll want to enter them here. And then under checkout page customization, this is done under the style tab, style settings tab. So when you click on that, it'll direct you there. And there's not a lot of options here. You can upload your logo. You can change the background color like it was in previous versions of Squarespace. And you can set the colors to something else. So for example, you can set the background to be a different color, like so. And yes, you can enter a hex code here. So let's say that we want this color to be this one, like so. And then here, let's go with this color. Or you can choose any of these colors that are here. You can also choose to show the site logo if you have it uploaded. You can change the title color and the header color, and then the header alignment, whether you want it to be left, centered, and then you can choose the button color to be, let's say we want this for the button color, like so. And then when you click on save, that is how your checkout will look, essentially. But that is found under design and then checkout page. So now we'll go back to commerce. Next up, if you sell physical products, you'll want to set up the shipping options here. So when you click on shipping option, you can choose between flat rate, depending on weight, carrier calculated through FedEx, UPS, or USPS. You can choose any of these methods. Again, this is not something that I'm going to go too much in depth into because I have no experience selling physical products, so I can't really advise you on that. You should consult with your accountant and basically decide what the best course of action would be for you to charge for shipping. But essentially, this is where you would set up those options. So if you choose, for example, flat rate, you can call it flat rate shipping, like this, and then per order fee, let's say you want to charge $15 for shipping for every order. And you can also choose to charge an additional $5 if they have more than one physical item in that order. Or you can leave that as $0, or you can charge basically per item. So no fee for every order, but $5 for every item that is in their cart. And then you can set up shipping zones. So basically you can choose between countries here individually if you ship only to select countries, or you can set the entire world by simply choosing rest of the world. And then that will be set for all the countries in the world. So I'm going to click cancel and discard. And if you choose depending on weight, you can set cost for basically by weight limits. So for example, 0 pounds to 1 pound, you charge $1. For 1 pound, for items that are 1 pound and over to, 5 pounds, you charge $1.50. For 5 pounds plus, you charge $5 or something like that. And then for shipping zones, again, same deal. You can add the rest of the world, or you can individually select the countries that this applies to. And then if you have pickup options, so if you have a physical store on top of your online store, you can set up a pickup location here by clicking add pickup option, and then you can enter the name, give the address and the opening hours here. And you can also add optional information right here. And then lastly, you'll probably want to set your tax rate, which can be done here. However, again, I am based in Croatia. I don't know how it works in United States or United Kingdom or Germany or Australia or New Zealand or basically any other part of the world, so I can't advise you on that. You will want to talk to your local Chamber of Commerce accountant or whoever is in charge for tax rates for physical stores, and you will want to set them up right here for your specific country. The rest of the options here are pretty straightforward. You can play around with them, click on each one, discover what it does, and basically use it to set up your store. What I find convenient here is that if you go to settings and then extensions, you can basically connect a lot of extensions to your store that make it easier to manage your product. So for example, ShipStation, Easy Ship, After Ship, FreshBooks, TaxJar. If you sell already on Printful or Printify, or if you're using Printique, you can basically connect those extensions here and they will automatically populate your Squarespace store with those products. So that setting is found under settings and then extensions. And then one last thing that I want to mention is, remember how I said that whenever you upload a product to your store, you can essentially have it automatically pushed to your social media account. Well, that is done under settings and then connected accounts. Here you would connect an account and you have the option to connect Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Tumblr, Twitter, ChowNow, 500px, Flickr, Instagram, and Foursquare Swarm. So if you select something like Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, whenever you add a product, Squarespace will push it to that platform. It won't do that for Instagram. However, you can connect an account here to pull your Instagram photos and display them in the footer of your website or something, for example. But that's a wholly different topic that I'm not going to get into right now. And that is the basics of setting up your online store with Squarespace. There's a few more settings that you can go through here, such as enabling waitlists and managing your related products and product reviews. If you click here, you can have them set to basically when somebody makes a purchase, if you toggle this on request reviews, then you can have Squarespace automatically send out an email that asks basically customers to leave a review on your website. And then when somebody submits a review, you'll get an email notification and that will show up on your individual product reviews. You can also import reviews from Etsy if you have an Etsy shop or if you've been selling on Etsy beforehand. So by clicking import, you can log into your Etsy store and then import those reviews here. You can also connect your Facebook and Instagram to sell there if you qualify with their requirements. You can connect with Facebook to add the tracking pixel to your site, and then your product catalog will be synced with Facebook and you can begin selling on Facebook and Instagram. And the same thing basically applies to Google. They will give you a small piece of code that you need to add to your site header, and then you can set up shipping and publish your website to have your products show up on Google Shopping. And if you want to learn how to sell memberships and scheduling with your Squarespace website, then you can click on more ways to sell, and that will link you to those particular guides from Squarespace that you can read to see how to use those features and Squarespace Commerce to sell memberships or appointments or classes. And that is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. And if you're looking for more help building your Squarespace website, I have a checklist that you can download that I will leave a link to in the description down below. That's it for this video, and I'll see you next time.